Am I wrong for not lying about why I could not remove my headscarf? I, 24 female, am a bridesmaid for one of my closest friends, Jackie, 24. I've been so excited to help. I was in charge of the bridal shower, the games, decorations, and menu. I left the guest list to Jackie's sister. Due to religious reasons, I wear a headscarf. I love and am very proud of it. In the group chat with other bridesmaids, I was talking about how excited I am to attend a girls-only event. I recently dyed my hair and wanted to show it off. I even paid extra to ask for a girls-only staff that day. Day of, as guests arrive, I realize one of them is Tori, 26 female. I know Tori as a family friend of Jackie's, but the few times I met her, it was before her transition to female. I was aware of it, but unaware she was coming to the shower. I don't mind at all, of course, and she's a lovely person, but I decided to keep my scarf on. As everyone's eating later, I'm passing by the tables to make sure everyone's good, and one of my bridesmaids mentioned that they hadn't gotten to see my hair and they wanted to see it. I tried to dismiss it at first or say, "Oh, I'll show you later," but the other girls at the table got curious. I got uncomfortable and I just said, "Oh, I'm actually not really comfortable taking it off right now." When pressed as to why, I said there's guests I don't feel comfortable taking it off in front of. There was a collective, "Oh," and I thought, cool, that's over. But one girl got aggressive and asked if I was referring to Tori. She's loud and the other tables turn to look. I don't answer. The girl asks if I wear one around men, so I say yes. She then says there's no men here, so clearly you should take it off. I tell her again that I'm keeping it on. Another bridesmaid defends me and tells the girl to chill out. Tori comes over and says me not taking it off is a slap in the face to her identity. I'm just shocked and had no clue what to do. Eventually, Tori and a few girls left saying that they felt it was disrespectful. I feel awful that this ruined a beautiful day for my friend. It's causing more trouble with people threatening to leave the wedding over discrimination towards me or towards Tori. I don't think I was in the wrong. Just as Tori can be Tori, I can be me. I feel like it'd be the equivalent of me making Tori or someone else adjust for me. I feel like we should just accept and respect each other rather than be woke one-sided. My question is more about being honest as to why I couldn't. Jackie is on my side, but Jackie's sister is giving her hell for it, saying she purposely left out that detail in the guest list to test me. Jackie says I should have brushed it off and said I was having a bad hair day or avoid giving an answer. I didn't ever mention Tori's name in my answer, and I don't think my answer was rude, but seeing how much stress it's causing, I'm thinking I should have made up a lie. So, am I wrong for how I handled the situation? Am I wrong for taking my friend to court after she kicked me out of the bridal party for cutting my hair? For my friend's 3-day wedding, I had to buy 3 different dresses, including alterations and specific shoes, which totaled over $700. She also wanted specific hairstyles for each day. Unfortunately, starting in March, my hair started to deteriorate. Due to health reasons, my hair was falling out in chunks, and in May, I made the difficult decision to cut my hair. I told the bride about my decision 2 weeks before the wedding, and she didn't say anything bad. The following week, she came over to my house, and when she was about to leave, she brought up that she was concerned about my haircut, and I told her it would look good even though I wouldn't be in uniform with the other bridesmaids. The following day, I received this message. After our recent conversations, I like to remind you of my boundaries. I've been very accommodating and graceful, but I cannot allow you to disrespect me. As you know, my wedding has been something I've dreamt of for many years. My husband and I have invested a lot of money into the video and photos of this day, and as we reflect on this day in the future, we want to see our vision reflected in the memories. Since I asked each of you to be my bridesmaids in 2019, I've been very clearly and very communicative in my request. The timing of your decision to cut your hair and not come in advance is very upsetting to me. I would have felt respected if you had communicated with me more than a week prior to the wedding, so we could have worked together to find a collaborative solution. Your inconsistencies have concerned me, and while I sympathize with your health conditions, I'm not willing to compromise my vision to accommodate you or anyone else when you have informed me in advance and we could have found a better solution. Since this is something you can no longer fully commit to, I need you to please step down from participating in my wedding. This was 3 days before the wedding. I immediately sent her and her husband an invoice asking them to reimburse for the dresses and shoes, keeping in mind that one of the dresses is still in her possession even though I paid for it. I was told I was inconsistent and selfish after I spent the past 2 weeks helping her plan the wedding shower. I worked with another bridesmaid to surprise her with a bridal shower after our bachelorette trip had to be canceled. I spent hours helping her out with wedding details. When she asked me to help her tone up before the wedding, I sent her a personalized workout program and even went with her to the gym to show her the ropes. When I agreed to be her bridesmaid, I was more than willing to oblige with what she asked, even if at times it was a lot of time and money. So, am I wrong for taking her to court because she kicked me out for cutting my hair? Am I wrong for not wanting to name our first child Black? My partner and I are having our first child, and I stupidly made a deal with them where they got to name our child if it was a boy, and I got to name it if it was a girl. I know, I messed up. Well, we are having a boy, and the names my partner are coming up with are not for me. I have managed to convince them to forget the deal we made, so at least that element is gone. But this does still mean they seem to have a little more say than I do in the situation. Anyway, the name they are really eager to use is Black. We both want something a bit different without being too hippity-dippity, and this is the outcome. The reasoning is something along the lines of, colors as names are already a thing. Violet, blue, and black is just a cool color. They just think it sounds really cool. However, I think it's a bit odd since we are both white. It just seems to me like, yeah, it's a color, but it's more than that. It's a race, and a race is a pretty sensitive topic. They think this is crazy logic that has nothing to do with race, and making it about race is absurd. Just to clarify, we will not name our child anything we both don't agree on, but this convo has now become more about whether or not the name is just a color or something more charged, and neither of us can really see from the other's perspective. So, am I wrong here? Am I wrong for kicking my brother out for announcing his wife's pregnancy right after I announced my daughter had cancer? Just to make sure I represent both sides of the conflict, my brother and his wife suffered from not having kids for years. It impacted them greatly. They love the kids in the family but always wish to have kids of their own. Lately, we got busy with my daughter Megan, who is 12, with health problems. She started suffering from anemia, loss of appetite, and recurrent fevers. We've taken her to the pediatrician, and from there we've learned that she has cancer. It was so devastating, I didn't want to tell my family right away. Most of them have chronic conditions, and this type of news might trigger a negative reaction because they love Megan and would give everything to see her healthy. My husband and I decided to gather the family at my house this past Wednesday to announce Megan's diagnosis. My aunt didn't take it well because she holds Megan dear, so she was rightfully the most devastated one. After a few minutes of complete silence, my brother started moving in his seat, saying there's something very serious he wanted to tell everyone. He was hesitant, but then he and his wife stood up, and then he said that they found out that they were finally expecting. The family were conflicted. Some got up to congratulate them, and some remained seated. I remained seated, and my brother then approached me and expressed how sorry he was that they had to tell us in these circumstances, but said he couldn't wait since this is a huge deal for them after years of waiting and because everyone was present. Literally everyone was there since I said the announcement we wanted to make concerned Megan. I argued with him about how he thought this was an appropriate time and asked if Megan mattered to him at all since he didn't take a minute to realize she was just diagnosed with cancer. He started reminding me how many years he and his wife suffered from frustration and disappointment for not being able to have kids, and argued that because he wasn't able to be a father until now, he's 37, he felt he was missing out on so much for many years, and that I didn't have to finally tell him congratulations, but should at least not guilt him for feeling overwhelmed and excited to finally be a father. He said I knew exactly how much he adores Megan and I shouldn't even think otherwise. Then said he was just sharing good news after hearing the bad news and there was nothing wrong with that. I told him and his wife to leave the house right then. He said he won't argue anymore because of how tense I felt, but will expect me to apologize at some point. Some family agreed with me, but my parents thought I shouldn't have taken my anger out on him like that, and that he'll always remember my reaction to the news he gave and should apologize after I've calmed down. So, was I wrong for my reaction? Am I wrong for telling my sister her rainbow baby isn't special? I, 27 female, have a set of twins, Ben and Betty. They just turned 6. My sister, 32 female, has Connor, who is 4. My sister and her husband lost their first baby due to SIDS. It was devastating for the whole family, and I was behind my sister 100% of the way. I couldn't imagine what it was like. Anyway, when she found out she was pregnant with Connor, we were all excited. The pregnancy went well, and Connor got a good bill of health. I love my sister and I love my nephew, but my sister is convinced that because he's her rainbow baby, that means he can do whatever he wants. Connor is incredibly spoiled and a brat. He throws fits to get his way, hits, kicks, cries, whatever it takes. My sister and her husband give him no discipline. He's their rainbow baby, so that is their excuse for his bad behavior. Their lives are to serve for whatever Connor wants. My twins just turned 6 and we had a small party for them. Everyone was having a good time except for Connor. He wanted cake, didn't like the games, wanted to watch TV, wanted ice cream now, didn't want other kids to touch him, and etc. Basically, the whole party, Connor threw a tantrum. The final straw came at present time. My husband went to get the gifts out of the living room only to find Connor had ripped nearly all of them open. My sister made excuses, saying he was just excited and wanted to play with my kids' new toys. I lost it. I told her that Connor isn't special, that he's a brat and he's been ruining the party since he got here. My sister immediately went on that he's her rainbow baby and he didn't mean it, and maybe I should have put the presents where he couldn't get to them. They were in the living room and the party was outside. No one was inside. I lost my temper, I know I did. This was my kid's party though. I said some nasty things to her. I told her that Connor isn't a baby anymore and he's not special, and she's raising a self-centered brat who will grow up to be a self-centered adult. She left the party and then my parents called. They said they understood my frustrations and everything about the situation. Then they said they still feel like I should apologize to my sister. Why? Because I have 2 healthy kids while she lost 1 and she's still having to deal with it? I told them no. My sister should apologize for how her son acted at the party. My husband and the guests who were at the party are on my side. My sister hasn't really spoken to me in a few days, just posted passive-aggressive things on social media, which I just blocked. So, am I wrong here? Am I wrong for telling my friend I don't want to be her bridesmaid anymore? My friend Mary and I have known each other since we were children. We've grown apart over the past few years, but she still considers me important enough to make me a bridesmaid. Her wedding is set to be in 3 weeks. One reason why I sort of distanced myself from her was because of her treatment of my relationship. My boyfriend Jack and I have been together for 3.5 years. He's a wonderful person, and there is no doubt in my mind that this is the man I want to marry. But Mary is under the impression that Jack is too good for me. Jack comes from a very wealthy background. His parents are certainly very wealthy. He was practically guaranteed a lavish life from the moment that he left the womb. I grew up in a low-income neighborhood, often wondering where my next meal was or how I was going to help pay the bills at a young age. Jack is considered to be conventionally attractive, always looking like he should be on some sort of magazine or billboard. Jack's good looks and background have led Mary to believe that Jack deserves better than me, as according to her, there's no way I could have pulled someone so attractive and rich. It's pretty disheartening to hear those things constantly, and it does take a toll on you and the friendship. Whenever Jack is around, she's quite polite and respectful, never once making these comments. Eventually, the comments did stop. Mary invited me for lunch with her fiancé and his friend Gary. From the moment I arrived, Mary and her fiancé were consumed in their own conversation, paying no attention to the both of us. It was fine, as Gary seemed to be a great guy and we easily chatted. He asked me why I was single, and I told him that I was in a happy, committed relationship. He was very taken aback by my answer. He told me that Mary had set up a blind double date of sorts for the both of us. I was very confused and slightly angry. I didn't want to be confrontational at lunch, especially in public, so I just carried on with the lunch. Luckily, Gary wasn't upset and ended up making a few jokes about the whole ordeal. I called Mary later on in the day and asked her a ton of questions about why she thought it was okay to do that. At first, she tried to deny it, but then she tried to justify it by saying that Gary is a man who's more in my league, and since he was also a groomsman, we needed to get to know each other better. I was shocked at her bluntness, so I just told her that I didn't want to be her bridesmaid anymore. Granted, it was a pretty impulsive decision, but I still stand by it. Mary didn't take it well, trying to apologize and saying that it was a mistake. It's been a few days and her fiancé has been texting me asking me to suck it up for the wedding. I feel petty and conflicted right now. So, am I wrong for what I did? Am I wrong for telling my husband I'll use my maiden name for our baby if he misses the birth? So I am 37 weeks pregnant. Due to several health complications during my pregnancy, I've been told multiple times by multiple doctors that I might have to give birth next week as opposed to 2 weeks from now. Furthermore, that I may actually go into labor this weekend or any time leading up to it. Due to these same health complications, I'm having a C-section and my doctors do not want me laboring. So, should I go into labor, they are most likely pushing me through as an emergency C-section. My husband knows all of this. However, he's holding on to the 2% chance they give him that the baby could last the 2 weeks. His sister is also
better days. We have better days. Don't tell me something